Yo, the internet friends and family, welcome to the channel. It's me, ya boy, D-Rex, and today we are talking about WrestleMania 38. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and all those good things. Now, so WrestleMania 38 was my very first live WWE event I went to. I've, watched, everything before on satellite, on the WWE Network, on Peacock, and this truly met my expectations, and even more so. So there was two reasons why I wanted to go to WrestleMania 38. One of them was The Undertaker being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I've always wanted to see him, perform live, but I just never had the opportunity. And when I heard that he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was like, okay, this is probably my one chance to actually, see him live. I don't know how many more times he's ever going to show up, at an arena or whatever. And the second one was because I have friends in Texas that I haven't seen in a while. One of my buddies, I call him up and I say, hey, WrestleMania is in your neck of the woods. Do you want to come with? And here's the thing: is he has never watched or even seen any form of wrestling until WrestleMania 38 that weekend. And so he goes, yeah, sure. And I basically, when I met up with him, I was basically giving him a rundown of what's going on, who the characters were, the storylines. I was basically his walking encyclopedia for WrestleMania. Things got started at the beginning. So we go down Friday. We went down Friday morning. We got to Dallas about somewhere between 11 and 12. As we were making our way to the American Airlines Center, it's like, oh, wait a minute. They don't open the gates for the show, and it's like 2 hours prior to the event. And so I looked up WWE Access. I was looking at it, and already at this point, we're already stretching the budget at its limit. I paid for both our tickets and everything. He took care of the hotel, but between the two of us, it was pretty pricey, about $1,200 for where we got seats. And like the week before I went down, I purchased the tickets for SmackDown and the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's like, hey, you want to do this? He said, sure. But anyway, we're going down, and I ended up looking up WWE Access, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about it, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, do you want to go check this out? I was like, it's only like, I can't remember how much it was, but we order, we buy the tickets, we go, and oh my gosh, again, it was an experience of a lifetime. We get in there, and we're just kind of like taking it all in, and even right out the gate, as soon as I walked in, people were walking up to me and asking me to take my picture and say, oh dude, you look really cool, you look really good. And I'm sorry, like, you're gonna hear me throughout this video that little kids will walk up to me and say, ask for my picture, and the smiles on their faces, I couldn't say no. And it's like I was tasting just a little bit of what these superstars get to experience, and putting a smile on a child's face, it just was so worth it. But we go, we look around. It's like we probably weren't gonna really buy a whole bunch of merchandise because, again, it just pretty much cost us everything just to get the tickets. But we ended up going through the Undertaker, the graveyard thing, and I'm walking through, explaining like what's going on, like what all the tombstones mean, all the caskets and all the hearse, and just basically the history of the Undertaker. And even prior to that, we saw there was this little, this guy with this camcorder, and I'm like, hey, what's this? I'm like, oh, if this is something for free, if fans want to, send the Undertaker a message, thank him for his years of entertainment, and tell him what your favorite match is. And of course I did. And at some point, hopefully I get a message back from him, because That's what the guy said. So, and I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, but then we go through the Undertaker graveyard, and more guys are asking people for photos. There's even one where two guys asked me to make it look like I was choke slamming them or going for a choke slam. It was great. And then we get to the superstar entrance recreation, as I like to call it, where you choose a wrestler's theme song and you come out to it. Again, just like the Undertaker, I did this. That energy that the people were giving, it really helped me, because I was like so nervous, like I have to do this justice or these guys are gonna boo me to death. Literally. And when I went to do that hat thing, the pop I got from that was just amazing. And it's like events like this, like WWE Access, that allows fans to let out that inner nerd. I've gone to Renaissance fairs where I did the same thing. I dressed medieval, let that inner, fan who likes to, dress up, cosplay, or whatever you want to call it. And it was such a wonderful moment. And then we went back to that area where, I was messaging the Undertaker, and I looked up, I saw the sign that says, photo opportunities or whatever it was. I go up as opportunity either take a picture with the Undertaker, get something signed by the Undertaker or both. Well, we could only afford one, so we did the photo. And so that was a really cool experience, and I did not realize how tall Taker was until I'm standing right next to him. I'm 6 even, and the tallest person I ever look up to was my dad, who was 6'6", and Taker's had another 4 to 6 inches on my dad. It's like, oh my gosh, he is big. But I was just smiling, and you saw in that photo, my friend, he dressed up as Paul Bearer, and that actually came about after the Hall of Fame ceremony, which I'll talk about here in a second. It was after we left. We walked out. We had to, go to our hotel and check in before the SmackDown show. But I'll grab it. Okay, so I bought this urn off eBay just for this event, and when we were driving to our hotel to check in after we did everything at Access that morning, and then before SmackDown. And I was looking at the urn. I looked at him. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about being Paul Bearer? Who's Paul Bearer? I'm like, well, he was the manager for The Undertaker. And I was like, well, cool. And so when we get to the hotel, I show him a short video, and of Paul Bearer, helping give him an idea of his character, how he acts. He's like, if we're gonna be Undertaker and Paul Bearer, we had to do this justice. And so then, like, yeah, he did some research on it, and he's like, yeah, sure, yeah, let's do this. It's like, all right, well, Saturday morning we're going shopping, and so we went into Kohl's and bought him a shirt and a red tie, and it's like, hey, you can tell your mom and your girlfriend thank you for my behalf. And I was like, hey, and I was like, hey, then your mom and girlfriend can thank me for getting you nice clothes. So we finally get to the American Airlines Center for Friday Night SmackDown, and it was a great show. We had a lot of fun, watching it live. The only thing I kind of missed at SmackDown and WrestleMania was the commentary. But, at WrestleMania, the energy from the audience really made up for that. But we'll get to that later. Like I said, had a lot of fun watching it at SmackDown. But really, the one thing that stood out for me was the segment between Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre. Like how Drew, the one thing that what Drew's mom and Sword Angela have in common is how Drew lost them both. That is a line you do not cross. And when Drew came out and destroyed Corbin's set with Angela, that was amazing. Then the Hall of Fame ceremony, and actually have fun. A really interesting story about a bunch of sequences that happened. So my friend Caleb, is his name, he goes off to the restroom, and while watching the ceremony, I believe we're at Queen Charmel at this point, and I'm watching. I'm like, wait, he's gone for a while. I wonder, is he okay? Did something happen to him? And right then, he starts calling me. Well, I can't hear him for whatever inside the arena. So I get up, I go out, and try to see if I can find him. And here he is talking to a bunch of the people who work there. And I find out that he went down to the lower level to get some food while there was like a little bar just down the hall where he could have gone to. And apparently, in order to go up and down or back up the escalator, he needed the tickets, which I had. But the custodians there, they got him back up. There was no problem. And then we went back to our seats. It wasn't until like about 10 minutes later where one of the ladies gets my attention. She's like calling me over, so I get up, I go down, and she's like, "Hey, is he with you?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Bring him to." Yeah, like we had no idea what was going on, but she was making this sound really urgent. She goes, "Okay, like you guys are gonna go down this hallway to that lady right down there, okay? But you gotta go now." So we're running down the hall. We get there, and same thing. You're going down to the lady down the hall. Go as fast as you can. We're booking, and just like 5 minutes before, just before Undertaker came out, they moved us to this almost like a buffet bar or something up in that section, and we were just like, well, why are we being moved over here? And it's like we weren't. I mean, it just felt weird for this to come out of nowhere. And then the lady's like, "Hey, this is special. We're doing something special for you guys. Don't worry about it." It's like, okay, and I got to look a gift horse in the mouth. And so we were actually where we were originally sitting. It was like some of the worst seats you could get, but that's what you pay for. The stage was right here. We were to the right side, but just that awkward spot where you're not really behind the stage, but you just really can't see the front. That area. But yeah, they moved us. And we were actually closer to the ring for the Hall of Fame ceremony. And it's like we were maybe 3 or 4 rows down, and just really better, just a really better view. And Undertaker comes out, and just the energy, the admiration that the fans were giving him. And for 5 minutes, anyone who watched the Hall of Fame ceremony is like, you just couldn't talk just because of the fans. And being there in person is so different than watching it on TV. And he was just, then he gets into his speech. He talked about the three, things, three mental things that he kept with him, since day one. Was perception is reality, love and loyalty, and never being content. And this really, and how he, talked about his family. How one of the things that stood out to me was when he mentioned how his wife invited him to come to church. He's like, that's not a good idea, but that little sequence, how his wife led him back to God and gave Jesus Christ the credit for his career. I just thought that was really, really cool and neat, personally. And then that little, when he gets done with his speech, he's about to walk off, back up the ramp, stops, puts the coat on, puts the hat on. That was just like the icing on the cake. Then it's Saturday, WrestleMania Saturday. Get to the AT&T Center where we're walking around. People are taking photos of us. Having a good old time. Then we get in, and it was a bit of a hassle trying to. I've been to theme parks and stuff, like Disney World, where you had to kind of worm your way, navigate your way through the crowd. But we're trying to find our section. It's like, okay, do we go that way? Do we go this way? I really should have got a map of the place. But we eventually found our seats, where we met this family, and one guy, he was dressed like the Macho Man Randy Savage. And then we just started talking, saying, this is my first live event, or technically second, first live WrestleMania, and how my buddy, this was his first wrestling experience ever. And it's like, this is no better way to do it than WrestleMania. The show goes off, everything, was just amazing. The women's tag team match was phenomenal. The two superplexes out the corners. But let's be honest, though, the icing on the cake for night one was Stone Cold Steve Austin returning. And The Undertaker coming out for an encore. I almost forgot about that. But now my friend, he's a native Texan. And so I gave him the backstory about what's going on between Kevin Owens and Steve Austin. And surprise, surprise, or not so surprising, he's just like, oh really? Okay. And so Kevin Owens comes out. Oh wait, I need to backtrack here quick. Trying to remember if it was night one or it was night one with Drew McIntyre. When he beat Happy Corbin and Mad Cat was gonna get involved. But Drew had that sword, and when he cut the ropes, it's like, holy crap! And I just realized I got ahead of myself. The return of Cody Rhodes. That was just insane. And I am just kind of just all over the place just because of the experience. But Triple H, and guys, forgive me for jumping all over the place. It's just I'm trying to sort out my thoughts, trying to remember everything that happened, because it was a busy weekend for me. Triple H coming out, officially making his in-ring retirement. Again, no better place to do it than the grandest stage of them all. Yeah, there's him, Cody Rhodes, his return. It was just phenomenal. But now back to Kevin Owens and Austin. Owens is, talking. He's running his mouth about Texas. I'm looking over at my buddy, and he's just sitting there, just nodding his head. And I can just see it I can really read his mind. He's thinking keep talking, buddy, keep talking. I mean, if it wasn't for self-restraint, I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of Texans who would jump that barricade and attack him. Gets in the ring, they have their little talk, and for a 57-year-old, Austin still got it. He still had it. Stuns Owens. 1, 2, 3, boom! And again, the people went nuts. Now the story doesn't end there though. For night one, we get out of AT&T Stadium. We end up walking onto the football field that they have on that the side we walked out on. Yeah, people are asking to take my picture, picture with me, all that stuff. All of a sudden, one guy walks up, and I don't know if he had one too many to drink or not, but he's like, he asked for my picture, like, okay. Then he asked me to choke slam him. Yeah, you heard me right. He asked me to choke slam. And so I thought nothing. I was like, okay, it's a choke slam, whatever. And I grab him by the neck, pick him up, choke slam him. We're all laughing. Then he gets up, and I had to do a double take because then he asked me to give him a tombstone pile driver, and I was kind of like taken back by this. I'm like, whoa, no, this is a bad idea. I am not a professional. I am not trained to do this. Like, it could end bad. I'm trying to talk him out of it. It's like, dude, but this is dangerous. I could accidentally, paralyze you. I could, break your neck. You could die. He's like, again, I am not a professional. I shouldn't do things on that type of level. Choke slamming. I mean, it's he just falls on his back. That's about it. But he was adamant, and everyone around me is saying, "Tombstone, tombstone." So against my better judgment, I pick him up and trying to keep the thought out that my face is in a man's crotch, and give him a pile driver. And I do the thing with fold his arms over, 1, 2. Did the tongue and eye thing. That was a one-time thing, not doing it again. But it was fun at the same time. Sunday morning, WrestleMania day or night 2. We get up. We go to the Access Center again for the Undertaker meet and greet. Like in the photo earlier, walking up, shook his hand. But actually, what happened during that though is my buddy, Caleb, he's dressed up as Paul Bear. And Taker, he paused for a brief second, he looked at him, he was like, "Oh, that's good, man." And it's like, when we did it, I'm like, Caleb, you just realized that the Undertaker thought that your outfit was really cool. Like, that's amazing, man. I don't think he truly comprehended the magnitude of that situation. Then we were about to, walk out, head back to the hotel for a little bit, just rest a little bit before night 2, where we ran into another guy dressed up like the Undertaker, and I'm guessing it was his girlfriend, dressed up like Alexa Bliss. We did a bunch of poses and stuff like that. We had Caleb in the center with the urn, and it was great. And then we get to night 2, get to the AT&T Stadium. We get in there. Basically the same thing was happening. We got there for the the kickoff show. And I'm gonna be honest, I kind of missed that they had matches at the kickoff show instead of the DJ. No, don't get me wrong, the DJ, he did a phenomenal job. But hey, I would have liked seen some matches because on night 1, I come to learn that the New Day's match against Sheamus and his group of guys, that was cut from night 1, so I was kind of expecting it to be part of the kickoff show. But so then we had some time to kill. I decided to walk the entire stadium, just want to check it out, see the other side. I get back to our seats, and just before, right before I got to sit down, the Ric Flair guy comes back, or Ric Flair, Macho Man guy comes back, but no, he's kind of like this combination of Seth Rollins and Macho Man. I don't know what he was going for. It was more like Seth Rollins look. And so then he's like, "Hey, there's this guy dressed up like Ric Flair. He wants to take a picture of all of us together." So we're like, okay. We get up there, we do the photo. We end up with almost a 5-minute photo shoot. People just come in. And again, the kids. I could not say no to the kids. They come up with these, these looks that say, "Please, can we take a picture with you?" And my heart just melted. Seeing those expressions, seeing those smiles. It's like, come here, kids, come here. And the Ric Flair guy is starting to regret bringing you guys up here. It's like, hey man, this comes with the territory. After all that's said and done, we go back to our seats. And then just before the show started, we decided to go get some food. And I'm just gonna be honest, $10 for a burger seems kind of ridiculous, but that's just me. Night 2 starts. I can't say anything bad about the show except for one little thing, but I can look past it. It was when Stone Cold gave McMahon a stunner, and I gave McMahon a little leeway, just like he's like what 60 now or something like that. So okay, but but it's like if McMahon's out, and I was actually genuinely impressed that McMahon got in the ring and did some stuff, even though he was being the villain, Mr. McMahon. It's just the whole sequence of like McMahon, he's being very hesitant with Austin. He's just like, and everyone in the stadium could feel it, like, no, McMahon's gonna get a stunner. It's like when Austin and McMahon are in the same ring, you expect McMahon to get a stunner. Again, Taker coming out for the second curtain call. I guess. Then came the match everyone was waiting for. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I will say this. Roman is doing a great job playing a villain. I was so mad at him. I feel like they did. It was a great way to end WrestleMania with that match. There's really not much I can say about it. They did a phenomenal job. It was, after, the show was over, at least, live streaming, the round of applause Brock got, it's just like, Brock Lesnar still, he's a beast. You can't take anything away from Brock. But now remember when I mentioned what happened after night 1? Basically, it was a repeat, except this time I was the instigator. So how it all starts is essentially, basically there's this guy dressed up like a chicken, right? He was in like a chicken suit. I don't know what it was exactly, but I knew it was a chicken. It's like, go over, he just got stunned. He got a stunner. I walk over, give him a choke slam 1, choke slam 2, and just like one thing led to another as people were asking me to choke slam them. It's like, what is with people wanting to get choke slammed? And then, then here comes the really best part, and I wish I had footage for you guys to see it, but we failed to do that. It was like me and like 6 other guys, we're like in each other's faces, holding the belts in the air, like I'm trying my best to say an Undertaker character. Well, then I fold up the title belt like so, and I took it and I pretended to smash one of the guys' faces in with it. It was just like all anarchy right there. And by the end of all the craziness, I ended up choke slamming every single one of them, being the last guy standing. But there was a bunch of people recording it, so I'm sure it's out there somewhere. And if you guys ever find it or whatever, please let me know. I really want to see what the perspective of it was. But it doesn't end there. we walk in back to the car. We pass by one of the hotels that's right next to the stadium. And we see a guy get a Stone Cold Stunner. I look over to my buddy. I'm like, I have to. I walk up. You know, the guy who got stunned out, he's just like on the ground pretending to be dazed. And the guy, who was, who did it and gave him the stunner, he's like, oh yeah, I just stunned Seth freaking Rollins. And I got one who's like, whoa, it's Undertaker, man. Don't go after me. Go after him. And he runs. He hides behind. I mean, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or whatever. And so I kind of look at her or look at him. Well, she thought I was looking at her, and she goes, "Oh, I don't mind if you chokeslam me." And I'm like, saying a character, but I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we're not gonna do that. I'll just go after the guy who got the stunner. And yeah, that's pretty much my WrestleMania experience. But before that, just one last thing to show you guys. So like before we, like I said, we were at the Access Center, and before we left, we decided to get some last minute merchandise, and I just got the book here. Hopefully you guys can see it better. Like as you can see, it's got the class of the Hall of Fame. And I can be honest, I was actually surprised that the Steiner brothers were inducted just because of the history with Scott Steiner. But like, yeah, they got they show you who was inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, and like the Undertaker being the centerpiece of it all. And I just gotta say, the artwork, they did a fantastic job on this. There's like the history of the character, like how long they were in the business, stuff like that. And like again, like Chad Gaspard, a real symbol of what a hero is, what a warrior is, what a father is. I'm gonna try to get a better image for you guys here. I don't know if you can see it, but let me bring it up to you. Just like a really, a great man to do what he did for his son. You can't take that away, not by a long shot. But like I said, it's got the entire, the year, very first Hall of Fame class being Andre the Giant, 1993. It is from every class from there since. That's what I noticed is it was like near the 2000s. That's when they actually had it like every year. That's kind of cool. And then on the other side, they got the history of WrestleMania itself. They have all the highlight moments from WrestleMania and other events throughout the years. And of course, like all the poster work, the art posters for that they had displayed around this center, and they had on the TV screen, and like I'm probably gonna scan some of these and frame them or whatever. I mean, again, whoever is in charge of the art, they did an amazing job. Oh, I forgot to mention the John Moxley and the Sami Zayn match. Oh, that was hilarious. It's like, it was just so over the top. It's like, this is great. Oh, like I said, it was like, they have just a little bit of the history of WrestleMania, starting with the first WrestleMania, then all the way to WrestleMania 37, and just like, and even just overall, it was such a wonderful experience. Now, I'm probably not gonna be able to go to WrestleMania next year just because I am financially stretched thin at this point, but I have no regrets. It was worth every cent that I spent. And my buddy Caleb, again, if you want me to upload a video of his experience, of his first wrestling experience, just let me know. But we can both agree on that it was well worth the price that we paid for and we do hope at some point in the future we can go back to not just WrestleMania but other events as well. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comment down below, did you go to WrestleMania live, or what did you love about WrestleMania? WrestleMania Access, and just overall that WrestleMania week. And until next time, rest in peace.